We have ZaberZ playing as Jax, we have Lyssic playing as Malphite, we have MMKH playing as Corki, and we have Nekrogen playing as hipeoples. And could you give us a quick recap left side? I started the VOD a little bit late.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Could you give us a quick recap of the champs on the left side? I started the VOD.
Oh, because of the VOD. Okay, yeah, sure. On the left side, or the blue team, it's going to be blind pick Banditos, with zimike on Sona, Elalya on Warwick, Talith PA on Ezreal, Jjaja on Riven, and Aparkhurst on Malzahar. With that, AD Malzahar started charging up that tier of the goddess right away as we loaded in. Another thing I want to touch upon, someone mentioned, well, at least Vladimir has some sustain, and while, yeah, past, especially, post level 9, the whole trading situation is great. It's much more beneficial in the standard Summoner's Rift, where you're most likely still in a lane phase during those levels, where a 1v1 trade or just some poke is going to happen, and you're going to have to stay and sustain back through the minions. You're not going to have as much room to breathe here on the Crystal Scar. Maximum, I mean, you might have some time to go out and maybe take a wave or two, but if you get ganked, I mean, there's so many avenues where you can be ganked on this map that it's not going to be as easy for that sustain to shine. But the match has begun, so we'll have to just wait and see how hipeoples plays out this Vladimir here against blind pick Banditos.
Let's see, Nunu and Aparkhurst. Nunu and Malzahar, excuse me, bottom lane there as both teams head up toward the windmill. It looks like Earthrider Corki is going to get there first, along with Jjaja. It looks like MMKH making that dive, kind of zoning Jjaja away a little bit, getting a little bit of cap time in there, just a little bit of cap time in. Trading a little bit of damage there, but not a significant amount yet. Ooh, nice shot. Tapping MMKH there for a fair amount of his health. ZaberZ with a leap strike. Just a little bit of back and forth here. No one really coming to an engage except maybe right now going for Jjaja. And he's backing on out of that fight. He is going to get taken down. MMKH looking a little bit low himself, but they want Talith out. He's going to Arcane Shift over, pick up that health relic, fire off a shot over the wall there. And right now, point defense is, they're in the middle. They're keeping him away from that tower, but they're getting slowly lower and lower on health there. ZaberZ in a really vulnerable position, especially with Talith PA getting him with the stun right there. And ZaberZ not quite able to make it out of there. Elalya looking pretty desperate right there. She's going to go down as well. We're still in a 3v3 situation up here top. Talith PA, though, getting scared.
It's been a constant 3v3 ever since the first targets have been taken out. They've just been kind of going on back and forth. It's really going to come down to who starts taking people out now that the revives have been used and you can't pass the baton anymore. Very, very good Sanguine Pool is going to dodge the damage from Jjaja and help pick up the kill. But Malphite's going to go down, and that leaves hipeoples completely open for Elalya to pick up that kill. Talith PA does finally go down. The cleanse had been used earlier to just kind of deny any CC. Cleanse, of course, if it's used preemptively, it's not as devastating, and it does have a lasting effect. ZaberZ puts out some good damage onto zimike. Zimike still just convinced that he can stick around using the right power chords to help zone away point defense, but they do finally capture the windmill, and they're going down onto Elalya. Elalya not in a good position, decides to just turn around and try to put out as much damage as possible, as there was no means of escape. Talith PA forced to jump away as hipeoples comes back up to the windmill on Vladimir.
Point defense off to an okay start right here, but are they going to be able to keep up this momentum throughout the game? That was quite a lengthy little exchange there. Looks like they're going for the Jjaja going for that storm shield there, but hipeoples Vladimir is right there to interrupt that. Does not want Jjaja to get that storm shield. ZaberZ jumping up for zimike there and stunned in the process. They really want to keep that storm shield out of Jjaja's hands. A Riven with the storm shield is difficult to kill and deals a lot of damage. And Jjaja picking that fight right there. Got the counterattack up, stop a little bit of damage and deliver a little bit of a stun in the process. But now it's a 4v3. Corki arrives now, just waiting in the wings of the back there. hipeoples having to drop that Sanguine Pool to back on out of that fight. But he gets caught by a combination of the ult from Ezreal, and zimike's going to drop that stun, but is going to die in the process. ZaberZ living on borrowed time there. Painkiller defense method in full effect for a couple of moments. Talith PA getting zoned out, and Elalya is still hanging around the middle.
Yeah, that really turned around 4-point defense as Malphite came in with that solid force. Talith PA gets out with a sliver of health. Elalya coming in to try to stop Corki's advance, and Corki's Valkyrie actually gets denied by that wall, a little bit of a thick portion of the wall there, not able to go through. Talith picks up the health relic, and now it's MMKH in danger, does not have mana to continue on with an escape. Vlad does come through to help save him, if anything. Meanwhile, Point Defense does still hold a 3 cap right now, so they are in a good position, but Windmill just got targeted as an objective. So as Malphite was starting to port back, realized that this is going to be not just because it's the Windmill. Already, of course, that requires a lot of attention, but with that objective being there, Lyssic being very attentive and realizes that, you know what, Blind Pick Banditos is going to start focusing this down right away. If they can take it away, you know, Corki just went back to base. They have a good window, decides to not port back, and we do see the 4 members of Blind Pick Banditos come up to the top. However, Point Defense responds very quickly. It is a full 4v4, and it's going to be ZaberZ who shows up with a Storm Shield, and there is the Hema play coming up from Vladimir, helping out with a lot of good AoE damage. Lyssic in a little bit of trouble. Elalya trying to chase through. This is not going to be able to get the kill just yet. The health really goes down for Lyssic. Lyssic survives during that chase. The rest of Point Defense being very, very helpful in just actually model blocking that Warwick, not able to pick up the kill. Meanwhile, MMKH nearly goes down to the SS plus, but once again, everyone from Point Defense has had a chance to just survive with a sliver of health and defend their point.
Yeah, very narrow escape for champions on both sides of that engagement. They are able to defend that windmill for now. hipeoples has to kind of stay back up here in case someone comes up to make a play. They can't all recall at once, because if you do that, you're opening yourself up to a free neutral, and with a point that is also a quest objective, you really don't want to even give them something that looks like an opportunity. You don't want to even suggest remotely that this is going to be free for them. And now with his teammates getting close to the windmill again, he's going to go ahead and recall. MMKH stopping just outside of vision right there to see what the enemy team was going to do, if anything, before actually advancing out somewhere they can see. You can see that same thing going on right here. ZaberZ with his Jax right there, hanging out just outside of line of sight. Jjaja in the bushes over here, kind of scouting around. ZaberZ, I'm scared for you, man. ZaberZ, get out of the way. He gets out of the way just fine right there. And they're cutting in a really difficult position that's forcing Point Defense down from the top.
Oh, and Corki gets caught first, but Jjaja does kite away with Valkyrie, but it's going to leave Malphite alone, and Elalya jumps onto ZaberZ. Right now, it's Point Defense who are split, and they're not able to capitalize on it in a converging fashion. Malphite tries to go in with Unstoppable Force to help save Jax. Not going to be successful. Jjaja picks up the kill onto Malphite, but a good Sanguine Pool is going to dodge that 2-shot barrage, but not enough. A great crescendo catches both members. The Garrison goes down on the tower. MMKH will eventually go down to Warwick. Jjaja ran pretty low, but not nearly as dangerous as some other people have been during this match. And finally, Blind Pick Banditos does get the windmill. They also get that buff during this, kind of break in action. I want to talk about this bot lane. I was going to mention it before the game started, but a really, really great choice on Nunu, because Nunu can just consume the minion that comes out from Malzahar.
He can eat the spooky puppy. He can eat that voidling there, and it does shut down Malzahar a little bit more. Although Malzahar can still deliver damage in other ways while that's going on. He still has his auto attack ability. He still has his pool and his dot that he can deliver some damage with. But that sustain is a little difficult to deal with when he can't really harass with the voidling.
Yep, meanwhile, top lane, MMKH once again gets caught by Riven, but is going to Valkyrie out just fine. It's very interesting to see both of these kind of standard ranged AD carry champions on both teams, both of them having a blink, quite mobile and versatile in their damage output, both of them also delivering quite a bit of mixed damage. So it's somewhat similar. A lot of people comparing these two champions. We'll have to see how each one keeps playing. Both of them have been using their blinks quite well. Meanwhile, Elalya comes down to try to stop the Storm Shield onto MMKH, but MMKH is going to get out of there successfully with that Storm Shield. And Point Defense now just wondering how they can regroup and take back some points. The minion wave is pushing up top against the windmill, so this is a good opportunity for them to pressure this. Valkyrie goes out, but Elalya is actually going to jump onto MMKH with that infinite duress from Warwick, and Riven tries to come through with damage, but here comes Vladimir with a Hemoplague, but a good True Shot Barrage takes out a chunk of the entire Point Defense team. MMKH is not in a good position. Talith, however, has been exhausted, now surrounded by the entire enemy team. A good Arcane Shift over the wall, tries to snipe Vladimir through the house, but not going to be successful. ZaberZ does jump over the wall for a counter kill for Malphite. However, Jjaja tries to chase through, but MMKH jumps over the corner there, picks up the kill as Ezreal comes back through with his own Storm Shield and is going to take out a double kill. ZaberZ picks up a kill with that jump for the wall, but Elalya will be the last victor as she cleans up the entire fight for Blind Pick Bandito's favor.
Not sure how I felt about that trade. Jax for Ezreal right there, both of them getting taken down. I guess he just wanted a little bit of extra gold since he was going to have to recall anyway. Maybe wanted to buy an item. Maybe just didn't like Talith PA. Who knows? Elalya up here farming some minions a little bit. Just wants to kind of get a creep wave building. Creep waves you kind of have to react to if someone builds one of those up because you can't just leave it on a tower. It will neutral that tower. There's been a lot of times where minion has been MVP of some games here, and we've seen that in past events where minion presence has been just enough to sort of kick over a neutral that you almost got but didn't. And zimike now back at the top of the map, excuse me. Hanging out up here, trading a little bit of damage, and now we have another 4v4 storm brewing.
You know, Jjaja goes in on Riven first, has activated that ult, but is forced to back away because of a ton of bursts being taken single-handedly. Crescendo actually not going to connect to anyone from zimike. That ult being down is going to be a huge factor. However, they are ahead right now, 4v3. MMKH has taken a ton of tower damage, will go down. Great kiting from both Jjaja and Talith PA as Elalya comes in to help sandwich as they are kiting away, and there's a great power core from zimike trying to get the slow onto hipeoples, but not able to follow through as hipeoples gets away with that sanguine pool. But the important part is Blind Pick Banditos has been successfully sieged, or they have been sieged under the windmill quite a few times, but they've successfully driven out point defense 2 or 3 times now.
Haven't been landslide successes though. Each time both teams get to a point where it's very, very tense, and I think that they really have something going for them, Blind Pick Banditos does, having Ezreal on their team, being able to deliver a significant amount of AoE damage across a great distance with his ultimate with the True Shot Barrage. We've seen in a couple games how valuable that's been. Corki cutting around the back here, MMKH going for bottom lane. Aparkhurst is down there as well. MMKH and Nekrogen on the point. zimike is coming down as well. That's a long distance Nether Grasp right there. That's the extended edition of Director's Cut Nether Grasp. Jjaja up at the top, in between a point defense sandwich, trying to Broken Wings away there, but things are not looking so good for him. He is going to get taken out. ZaberZ is going to go down next, and Elalya up here, looking to get a hold of hipeoples, but is going to get chased away by MMKH, and now Lyssic looking low. We've got Elalya up here. It's 1v2, can she do it? She takes a swipe out of Vlad there, and MMKH is, you know, cleared for takeoff. He's going to go right over that building.
You know, very, very close call on MMKH as zimike came back around, but ZaberZ is now up here, and so is Lyssic. It is going to be a 3v3 once again as Talith P has also returned, and point defense really needs to figure something out. They can't be hit by that True Shot Barrage, only Malphite going to get hit by it, so that's a good opening already, but a Storm Shield Riven is here, and we talked about this before. That's going to be an absolute terror for point defense, so they're going to back away, try to regroup for the time being.
Looks like they're going to go for this Storm Shield here. They're setting up a defensive perimeter. They don't want anyone to get in on this. Having 2 people capping on that way if one of them gets interrupted, someone else will get it instead. If they get interrupted by a single target ability, they see exactly what's going on here. Elalya sticking her head out. Jjaja going straight in for Lyssic, though. Then switching over to hipeoples afterwards, wasting a little bit of that combo on the tank there. Nice crescendo, clips 3 people right there. Jjaja having to bounce a little bit back out from the fight for a moment. hipeoples is... Sanguine Pool, though, is it going to be enough? No, it is not. MMKH low on mana and low on hit points. They're going to get swept mid, and Blind Pick Banditos might get a quest objective here.
Well, a triple kill going down for Elalya during that fight. Just great fighting coming out from Blind Pick Banditos. It was also unfortunate because Malphite's ultimate was not off of cooldown during that fight for point defense, and that just matters so much for them. It's kind of the same thing as Wukong during that last match we were able to spectate in this tournament. You have someone that's tanky, you have someone who can really zone out the enemy damage dealers, and has really good AoE disruption. You want them to have that available during a fight, but if that's off of cooldown, you're missing a huge chunk of not only disruption, but also damage in the case of Malphite, because Unstoppable Force has really good base damage, and also if he chooses to build any AP, it has an excellent ratio. And that's pretty devastating against the enemy team. Of course, Crescendo, very, very well placed. And with that, Blind Pick Banditos is still ahead with that 3 cap, steadily chipping away. Jjaja does get caught a little bit out here, but the key strike is going to just catch ZaberZ in that stun.
Down at the bottom, MMKH is going for a gank. Don't have top gank bottom, have top gank bottom. Going for a Aparkhurst. It looks like they're going to get him. Yes, he is going to go down. A pretty significant dive for the bottom there. Elalya goes for the suppress on Lyssic there. Jjaja getting some nice cuts in on point defense in that engagement there. ZaberZ and MMKH forced to back out, wait for cooldowns before coming back in and trying to re-engage at all. And now, hanging out on the outside of the fight, MMKH is not contributing a significant amount of damage. He's hanging out, he's trying to take shots where he can, but as a result, they're really not putting on the hurt they need to put on. And they throw down a Garrison on that bottom point, blind pick Banditos with a defensive Garrison, just to kind of heal that tower back up to standard operating status. Talith PA hunting for hipeoples and gets him up at the top end of the map.
Yep, finally was able to land one Mystic shot around the corner and then follow through with that Arcane Shift. But knows that Talith PA doesn't have enough mana. ZaberZ comes through, but had just enough mana for an Arcane Shift. Can ZaberZ stick to this? I believe so. Just a ton of burst damage coming out from those empowered hits, and does get the kill, but does not have time to finish the channel onto the tower as Elalya comes through with that infinite duress, and it's still a 2v1, but if anyone has to stand, in fact, it is going to be Warwick in this match, and gonna just be able to sit under the tower as Jjaja comes up, is stalling both Malphite and Corki quite a bit. Corki decides to turn back around and run the other way, but Sona with that mobility buff, or aura rather, and then Riven with that built-in mobility, still chasing through. They know that they're pretty much in a safe situation right now for that windmill. MMKH using that phosphorus bomb to just get vision on that brush as he passes through and now prepares to get the storm shield. Can he finish it before Sona comes through? Nope, Sona's gonna go ahead and disrupt that and also put out some good damage. We talked about that battle Sona coming out from zimike recently. hipeoples comes in to disrupt that, but there's a True Shot barrage forcing MMKH to back off that storm shield once again, and a ton of damage has already gone down to Malphite and Vladimir. I don't know if point defense wants to fight this right now. ZaberZ continues to chase through on Talith PA, but don't want to fight under any tower, and let alone maybe even out into the open right now.
And Sona just floating around, kind of in full operation mode, I guess. Getting chased down by ZaberZ now, and finally getting caught. Talith PA also getting caught in a rough spot, but they're both low on hit points, and Elalya's got that suppress out on MMKH. Jjaja has a lot of CC that he brings to the party, and ZaberZ is getting the worst end of that. Gets him with the wind slash there. Lyssic being chased away. You see zimike coming around on the side there. zimike gonna go ahead and take that kill.
Wow, I mean, normally I don't, really like to single out people, but this time around, Elalya has just been absolutely shining in this match. It's not even over yet, and has been part of 29 kills for the team with only 3 deaths, getting several multi-kills, pushing people away, just using that built-in sustain to great advantage for that Warwick, and also putting out tons and tons of damage with that Abyssal Scepter.
1 kill on a half an assist per minute. That's absolutely outrageous. ZaberZ getting a little damage in on zimike there as he retreats back to the bushes. Jjaja just waiting in the broken wings there. Vlad's going to come by. Jjaja's going to take it. Yes, he's going to go right in for hipeoples there, but he's going to have to sort of bunny hop on out of the way as the rest of the team converges in. hipeoples going for that storm shield. Lyssic trying to zone out, but not able to do so as the fight breaks out. Elalya goes in with the suppress. hipeoples sanguine pool pool's closed, ladies and gentlemen, and Lyssic is going to have to retreat to the drill.
Yeah, just hipeoples had some really good escapes early on in this match with that sanguine pool, but hasn't been as successful lately. Blind pick Banditos, has been much more aware of that happening. Has been saving their kind of execution skills or long-range nukes to finish off Vladimir as he comes out of that pool. Meanwhile, also, I think point defense has been focusing a little bit too much on trying to get their own storm shield to counteract the damage coming out from Blind Pick Banditos. Of course, the storm shield is really, really good to have, but if you keep getting picked off and if you keep getting disrupted there, you might just have to try to go for a much more mobility-based gameplay and try to distract enemy teams, spread them out, because right now you just haven't been winning team fights, but they do get a neutral here with the minion wave down at the quarry. A good crescendo does come out, but Aparkhurst still left in the dust, not in a good place, and then there's the ultimate from Malphite to stop Jjaja. It is just a single target, but it's a guaranteed kill as they have 4 people present at the quarry, and Vladimir puts down his ult to zone out the enemy enemy. They do still want to try to capture this point. Nunu's fighting off Sona alone, and Aparkhurst actually singles out Jax as Talith PA is able to pick up the kill from the summoner platform. A good stasis coming out from hipeoples, and then the Sanguine Pool. Can Ezreal pick up the kill? Yes, a well-placed missile shot will cleanly finish that fight, and now Talith PA in a really good situation, still at above half health. Of course, Aparkhurst still running a little bit low, so Nekrogen does come in from behind to try to pick up the kill, but Lyssic is going to go down first. Aparkhurst also gets taken down, but the shutdown against Nekrogen goes to Talith PA, and Talith PA is going to be successfully recapping the quarry as MMKH duels Elalya here at the windmill.
Out away from the point there with a suppress. He's going to try and Valkyrie away, but he was working on one engine with that exhaust there. He's going to get taken down. ZaberZ comes in, gets looking for a stun. Nope, not quite going to be able to land that stun. Decides to deliver it on Jjaja instead, going after him, seeing that Jjaja is a bigger threat potentially than Elalya is. And they are able to do that, but there's a Garrison on the tower thrown down by zimike, I believe, as hipeoples tries to pull on out of there, but the pool's closed for repairs. Elalya and crew from Blind Pick Banditos are going to be able to defend the windmill once again.
Yeah, point defense doesn't really have much time left. Only about 30 energy points left right now. You know, it's just been Blind Pick Banditos steadily holding on to that 3 cap. Meanwhile, Bali MMKH comes in for a gank once again, and a good Quicksilver Sash coming out from Nekrogen to deny that lockdown from Aparkhurst. They're going to pick up the kill, but at what cost? Zimike comes through from behind, and Jjaja is coming in from the spawn. They pick off the kill onto MMKH. Elalya has actually just left the post at the windmill, and they decide, you know what, we'll just get a clear kill here in the bot and try to trade towers to finish off this game. The Chobra barrage actually gets a hit up at the windmill, going to slow down that capture as they try to neutralize the boneyard. Windmill does eventually get neutralized, but the focus is still down here at the boneyard. It's a 3v2 in favor of Blind Pick Banditos. Windmill actually goes in favor of point defense, so they are going to hold on to a 3 cap right now. Jjaja running very low, does not get taken out by that last missile barrage, but again, Elalya on that Warwick, tanking that tower, has been very, very successful, uses that Hungering Strike. Can they finish off the duel against MMKH? No, MMKH will finally get the shutdown, and they are going to successfully defend this boneyard.
Parker's coming down here for Nekrogen. He wants some of that. He wants to secure victory for his team. He wants to be the bottom lane hero right here. He's going for it. Nekrogen diving in, wants to keep him close so he can get those auto attacks in, gets him with the snowball. ZaberZ coming down here. MMKH and everyone wants Aparkhurst. He's going to go down, unfortunately, but this leaves top a little bit understaffed. Lyssic is up there by himself, trying to defend as best he can, but that point is going to go neutral. Garrison gets thrown down, but it's not quite enough to save it. hipeoples' Vlad is up here as well, and they're trying to put the hurt on Jjaja. True Shot Barrage goes off a little bit late with the pool dodge. Unfortunately for that, throws down the Plague, and hipeoples not looking good. Lyssic not looking good. Lyssic is gonna... what?
Does make a getaway for now. Uses that shard against Riven to get away. Riven had just blown her cooldowns, so was not able to catch her. Elalya actually came in with great speed because of that blood scent, but will not be able to catch Malphite. So Windmill goes back for Blind Pick Banditos, but point defense did catch that quarry, so they're still holding on to this very, very fragile 3 cap. Meanwhile, Infinite Dress goes down onto MMKH to stop the advance onto Jjaja. And there are 3 people once again here at the windmill for Blind Pick Banditos to defend this. Again, a pretty good time. Stasis coming up for hipeoples, but that just leaves him to be caught up to. You know, Stasis, the disadvantage is that you also cannot be mobile during those 2 seconds. So if the enemy team cleans up the fight, they actually just have some time to catch up to you and blow their abilities if the cooldowns come back up. Meanwhile, Parker is trying to channel down onto this boneyard. Lyssic is here to defend it for the time being. We also have ZaberZ coming down on Jax. Is going to try to catch off this poor Malzahar. Does get the counter strike and will get the stun. Continues to try to get damage output, but a good juke, into the brush from Aparkhurst. But Jjaja and Talith have also come down from spawn. They're going to be able to capture that quarry back in favor of Blind Pick Banditos. If they can finish this cap, that should be in favor of Blind Pick.
Not enough time to secure a point for point defense, unfortunately, especially with the Garrison, the Infinite Duress, and the Ezreal ult up at the top of the map there. This victory is going to go to Blind Pick Banditos.
Yep, the countdown goes down. Good game coming out. And that is game in favor of Blind Pick Banditos, knocking out point defense here in round 2 for DominateDominion.
We're going to be following Blind Pick Banditos into the round of 4 in the next game.